up, VIPs? Derek here, back with another video, and today we're headed out of the house, and I thought, why don't you guys come along with me and I'll show you what it's like taking a guide dog out of the house into public places. Today we've got a couple of errands to run. We've got to go to Starbucks because we're addicted to coffee, and we've got to go to the vet because I've got to drop off some records for Koa and get a weight for him as well. Plus, get him used to the idea of this building just in case the next time we have to go to the vet, you know, it won't be that big a deal. So I thought you guys could come along with me and I'd answer some of the questions you left on one of my last videos because you left some great questions and I figured I could address them here. Now today we're just going out for a very short trip. It's not that big a deal. We don't need a bunch of stuff. We're not going hiking or out for 12 hours or anything like that. So I've just got my small pouch. So let me show you the pouch here. This is actually a branded Guide Dogs for the Blind, I don't know, bait pouch basically. So it's got a couple of pockets, one on the front here. There's a big pocket that's magnetic, and that's where I keep the kibble. And actually in there, there's two places, so if you want to keep special kibble. On the side, I've got poop bags because, well, you always need poop bags when you've got a dog. And on the other side, I've got a clicker, which in case we had to pattern or something like that, and I'll talk more about that in another video. And then on the back, I've got a zipper where I keep some hand sanitizer, or as my daughter used to call it, hanitizer. So now that's all I really need because this is going to be a short trip. Otherwise, I might have a backpack and so forth, but we'll talk about that more in another video. Now, of course, I'm always going to need a leash and his harness. So let me just show you how to put that on. First of all, we've got his harness here. So I'm going to lean down here. Today he's got his red bandana on, if you can see a little bit, because, well, I always need a bandana on because that's cool. So we're going to put his harness on. Let's see here. The guide dog harness from Guide Dogs for the Blind is really nice because it's got a buckle, and you can also remove the handle like this, which is really, really, really nice because when I take him into the car, which I'll show you in a minute, the handle doesn't get in the way. So then of course we have the leash, which is something, you know, we always need for the dog. But that he wears a martingale collar, and if you have any questions about that, I'd be happy to explain it more in detail. So we've got the leash, we've got the harness, I've got the handle, and now we're ready to go. So let's head on out to the car and I'll show you what that's all about. Down here. There we go. Okay, buddy. Wait. Okay, let's go. Woo. All right, so gotta make sure we get his tail tucked in for obvious reasons. And then shut the door, and he's ready to go. So at this point, he would, once we start moving, he pretty much shrinks down into the floorboard. A lot of times he'll put his head sort of facing me, but he finds his spot and he's ready to go for the rest of the drive. So yeah, we're ready. Let's go. In this clip, Koa and I actually walk up to Starbucks. First, we come out of the parking lot to the curb, which is kind of the sidewalk leading up. We find that, we stop. Then we hop up onto the sidewalk and we walk to the door of Starbucks and head on in. Here we are, guys. We are in Starbucks. I've got my drink. This is a cold foam cold brew. It's delicious. All right, so I'm sitting here, and Koa's actually down here on the floor. This is exactly where Koa should be whenever we're out and about. He lays down, he's good to go, and that's where he'll stay while we're here. So I wanted to take just a second to answer a couple of your questions that you had on one of my last videos. Now, I'm not going to get into all the questions today. I'm going to do a whole separate video where I talk about some of the personal reasons for getting a guide dog, my training at Guide Dogs for the Blind, and things like that. But I thought I'd throw out a couple of questions you asked. First of all, somebody asked how Koa got his name. Now, at Guide Dogs for the Blind, they actually name the dogs by the staff. So what they do is they take a litter of dogs, and let's say there's 5 dogs in the litter, there, all those dogs get a name with the same letter starting. So Koa might have I think he actually has a sibling named Kingston, so they all start with a K. And if you watch the documentary Pick of the Litter, you'll see how they named that litter, and I think they all started with P. So some organizations will actually let the puppy raisers name the puppies, but Guide Dogs for the Blind does it. They have a group of people that names the puppies because they got to make sure not to name puppies that are named with working guide. So they probably can't name another puppy Koa right now because Koa is a working guide. So that's the first thing that somebody asked about. Secondly, somebody asked me, what if I run out of kibble? Now, if you notice in my last video, if you watched one of my previous videos in Portland, I've got my kibble bag or my bait pouch, and I give that whenever we go to curbs and stairs and things like that. Obviously, there's a whole other conversation within that, but if you run out, you can just run out. I mean, there's no great thing that happens because a lot of people, it's controversial. Oh, they're working for the food, they're working for me, blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing. They are greatly trained guide dogs. And yes, the food is positive reinforcement, but I'm already slowly weaning off the food, giving it from 100% of the time to maybe 80% of the time, and then going down to 60% of the time and things like that. So even if I run out of food, he will still work really, really well for me. And he's done that. I don't give him food all the time now, and he still does a fantastic job. So even if I run out of kibble, not a big deal. And then finally, people have commented a few times about having a certain level of sight. And so that equals getting a guide dog or not getting a guide dog. Some people think you need to be totally blind or have a very limited amount of sight. And the thing about it is, I do have a decent amount of remaining vision, but I still can really use a guide dog really well, and he does a great job for me, even with my level of vision. So maybe you're thinking, well, I can't get a guide dog because I have too much vision, or I don't need a cane or a guide dog because I have too much vision. It's like, well, think about how much vision you have. Maybe you have tunnel vision and your peripheral vision is totally shot. Or maybe it's the opposite like me. Whatever the case is, you may be eligible for a guide dog even if your vision isn't totally blind and even if you have some remaining vision. So just think about that as you go along. So we're going to sit here, we're going to enjoy our Starbucks, then here in a little bit we're going to head on over to the vet and we'll show you, weighing him, passing off that stuff, and it'll be a great time. So I'm going to enjoy my Starbucks. Here we go. So we're actually here at the vet, and before we go in, I wanted to address something real quick, talking about using a guide dog and having remaining vision. My wife actually brought this up, and I thought that's really something I need to say. One big benefit is less eye fatigue. When I'm using my white cane or whatever, I'm summoning all the power of sight I have left, trying to make sure I don't run into something. My head's down. I'm, trying to make sure I'm not running into an obstacle or I'm at the curb or whatever. And with Koa, a lot of that just gets alleviated because I can keep my head up and focus not on the things all around me, but I can think, I can listen to the birds, I can, whatever else, because he's doing all of that stuff. His power of sight is what's working for us. And so that's a really huge benefit, and I thought that's important, and I wanted to bring that up. So we're going to go into the vet, we're going to pass off the records, we're going to get his weight, and it's just one of those things that you got to do when you have a guide dog. You got to take them to the vet, make sure they're taken care of. This one's just a quick visit to pass off the records, but normally, you'd go in, you do the whole thing, and we're going to do that now, so let's hop on in there. Now in this clip, I actually take Koa up on the scale in the vet's office and have him sit and give him a few pieces of kibble just to get him to sit still while we're weighing him. And he weighs about 60 pounds, which is right on track for what he needs. Returned. Now, let's get this stuff off. Come here. All right, we're gonna take off the harness. Maybe. There it is. Okay, and then I'll take off the leash. Don't like that. Don't. Ugh. My dog is a licker. All right, so now somebody had mentioned or asked about if the dog is going to be a family dog, a family pet, that sort of thing. So when he's off the harness, he's just a dog. He comes in here, he's got a bed that he lays in, we go out in the backyard, we throw the ball around or whatever, take him to the park and play around. He's off the leash a big chunk of the time, except when he tries to get in the trash can, like he might be doing right now. But he's off the leash. He's just, you know, I want to say he's a family pet, but he's more than just a family pet. So he does have freedom, and he is just a dog. He's got a bone he's going to play with, so he's just going to have a really good time. So that is basically the answer to what does he do when he's off the harness? Well, he's just a dog like any other dog. So anyway, that was our trip for today. Hopefully you guys found it enlightening. If you have any other questions, comments, thoughts, whatever, leave them in the comments down below and let me know, and I'll be happy to answer them. And as always, remember that sight loss isn't the end, it's just the beginning. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Derek, and I'll see you guys in the next one.